Torah, Parshat Lecha, page Yud Gimel. Closer to the end of the page, we started the last meme on the page. Anyway, we're 5 lines to the end of the page. Anyway, now the Rabbi asked the question, if Avraham Avinu kept the whole Torah before it was given, why didn't he do Bris Milah? So he says we need to understand the concept of Milah. Because it says, Mi Yala Lanu Hashemayma, right? Mi Yala Lanu Hashemayma, so the Rosh Tevis is the word Milah. The end letters is Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that means Milah is even higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. Then he asked the question, one pasuk says, Umaltem es orvus levavchem, you should circumcise your heart. And then another pasuk says, Umal Hashem alakecha, that Hashem's going to do it. So he explains there's 2 levels of Bris Milah. There's a Bris Milah mamata l'mayla that we do, and then there's a level that Hashem does. That's what we're up to now. And he says that there's a level that we need to do, the whole inyan tshuva, the inyan of the circumcision that we do. That's the concept of tshuva. Like it says, you have to return to Hashem b'kiyama Torah mitzvahs, in the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. Like it says in Chazal, Im Yisrael leis in tshuva, if the Yidden do tshuva, nigolim, they'll be redeemed, v'im lav ein nigolim. Okay, so you have the level of Aveda of tshuva, which is the Milah Mamata L'mayla that we do, Umaltem es orvus levavchem. So there's an Aveda of Tshuva which is doing the Torah mitzvahs that brings the Geula. Then after Kibbutz Goluyas, after Mashiach comes and he gathers all the Goluyas together from all over the world, it says, Hashem will bring us to the land, and he'll do good for us. That's the second, that's the Milah from above. In other words, first he didn't have to do Tshuva to bring Mashiach. After Mashiach comes, then the second half is what Hashem does. Hashem will bring it to the land, and will make everything good. That's the level of Milah. Shalamayla lamata. From higher coming down, Umal Hashem alakachas levavcha. That's the level of what Hashem does the bris. Okay? So there's a level of Aveda mamata lamayla. That's the Aveda of the bris we do, which he defines as tshuva. And then there's a level of Mamayla lamata that Hashem does after we do tshuva. We bring Mashiach, then Hashem does his part. And that's what it means. He'll give more taiv than even mi'avisecha, than the forefathers had, in the level of marav tucha. An abundance, there's taiv, and then there's rav tucha. Rav tucha means an abundance of good, which is much higher than the regular level of taiv. Because Meish Rabbeinu was born circumcised, the pasuk says, "Vatera Eiseki Tevel." When Meish Rabbeinu was born, the pasuk says in Shvais that Vatera, his mother Yocheved, saw that it was good. So what does it mean it was good? So there's a lot of different opinions. One is that he was born circumcised. Another one that the house got filled with oil. Another opinion they named him Tuvia, Taiv. It's one opinion that was Meish Rabbeinu name given by the parents. The first level of Milah that we do, which is Mamato L'maylo, is is awakening from below. But it is the awakening from above. That's the level of Umal Hashem alakech. Okay, so we have 2 levels of Aveda. There's Aveda Mamato L'maylo, an awakening from below. That's our Aveda, Umaltem Esarl Slavachem, which is basically the union of tshuva. And then Hashem, Umal Hashem alakechas levavcha, meaning Hashem is going to reveal not only good, but rav tuv, an abundance of good that even the others didn't have. Like it says in the pasuk, Kimei tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim arenu neflois. It speaks about the coming of Mashiach, and it says, Kimei tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim similarly means, like the days of Egypt, I'm going to show you wonders. Just like then there were wonders. But Chassidus interprets, it doesn't mean the same. Kimei, it's like the miracles of Mitzrayim, but it's infinitely greater. It's even greater than the Gilui of Mitzrayim. Concerning the second level of Milah, that's Momayla. which sheyalach a kibbutz Goliath, which will be after the kibbutz of Goliath. Lech and kiyama mitayda kulan, after keeping Torah completely. That's the level of miyala lanu hashemayim, Rosh Tevis Milah, which is the acronym, like we said before, of Milah. That's even higher than Torah. That level of Milah is even higher than Torah. Why? Why is it higher than Torah? She says, because al Torah nemer leiba shemayim. Torah is not in the heavens because Torah comes down to earth. But by Milah it says, miyala lanu hashemayim. We're going to go up to the Shemayim. By Torah it says, Torah leiba shemayim. Torah is not in the heaven, meaning the jurisdiction of Torah is not in heaven anymore. It's only on Bezdin down here. But by Milah it says, miyala lanu hashemayim. Like it says, by Torah, nishpelis lamata dafka, and therefore, like the Gemara says in the famous Gemara, Amid Rabbi Yeshua meshgichim bebaskol, when Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Eliezer were having a massive argument in halacha. So Mamish was heavy to the all the Yidden were involved in this machlekes in halacha. Yeah? So, what Rabbi Eliezer said, if I'm right, there was a bunch of things. Let the wall cave in, let the river stop. Everything, Rabbi Eliezer said, if I'm right, let everything happen. Rabbi Yeshua was unimpressed. So finally he said, Rabbi Eliezer said, if I'm right, let a basko come out from heaven. So a voice came out from heaven and said, Rabbi Eliezer is right. So Rabbi Yeshua said, basko is worthless, because it says, leiba shemayim. Torah is not in the heaven. Torah has no jurisdiction on earth. So God's told the Basko said, so who cares? It doesn't mean anything, Rabbi Yeshua said. Torah is lower than Shemayim. But Bris Milah is miyala lanu hashemayim, and not only that, hashemayim, he doesn't say it here, but in the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimorim, there's Shemayim, and there's hashemayim. Right? By Yaakov's dream in Vayetze, Sulam Mutzav Arza, Vareisha Megia Hashemayim. So it says in the Chassidus, I'm sure it says in another place too, but there's Shemayim, and then Hashemayim is even higher than Shemayim. Eretz is earth. Arza is even lower than earth. So the Sulam of Yaakov Avinu is standing arza lower than the level of Eretz, going all the way up to Shemayim, meaning from the lowest levels to the highest madregas. So by Milah it says, Milah lanu hashemayim, and he says, V'nikra Torah Savaya, Torah is called Torah Hashem Tamima, right? Now what's Savaya? Yud Kevavke. So Torah is connected to Yud Kevavke. Milah, and Torah is leiba shemayim, but Milah is Yaba Shemayim. It's even greater than Torah. And therefore it says, Yud is Timzeh Pashvavam Shach. Shayidei Zenim Shechlamata. Therefore Torah is Torah Savaya, therefore Torah comes down here that we could understand it. Ava Milah Nali Milah Maila Meshem Avaya. But Milah is higher than Yud Kevavke, that it's even B'Rosh Tevis, and the Havaya is the end letters. And like we said yesterday, Rosh Tevis, the beginning letters are greater than the end letters, obviously. Beginning is greater than end. So, Miyala Lana Shemayim is Rosh Tevis Milah. That means the first letters are Milah, and the last letters are Yud Kevavke. V'alkeini b'chinas madregas ha-shemayim. U'lemayla b'chinas ha-teira shenafla lamata b'chinas shemayim elu. And therefore Milah is greater than the level of Torah. So the Alter Rebbe is saying this Milah Shenis, okay, that says Miyala concerning that level of after Mashiach, the Gili, the Milah Momaylo, that level is higher than Yud Kevavke. There's a level of Milah which is lower than Yud Kevavke, that's Araveda, which is Tshuva. The Shavta Ada Shem Elokecha, we have to return to Yud Kevavke. So that level of Milah is lower. But then there's a second Umalta Masola Savachim, that's our Aveda. And then you have Umal Hashem L'Kach Savachim, that's the Aveda Momayla. Valzeh Amar Azal, and that's what the Gemara says. The Gedei Lamila Shenichnas Aleh Shleisha Tebrisis. The Gemara says that bris milah is greater than Teda, because by bris milah it says 13 times the word Teda. By bris, in the word bris, the word bris is 13 brises, and Teda is much less. Pirish, what does it mean? Gedei Lamila. See, the Alter Rebbe is defining simply. The Gemara says Gedei Lamila, milah is greater than Teda. But the Alter Rebbe says what the Gemara means is the higher level of milah, Deila HaMilah, the higher level of milah is higher than Torah, which is the Umwal Hashem Elokecha. That's after tshuva, after Torah mitzvahs. That's a much higher level. What?
Milah it's a break. It's only one mitzvah. Torah is all 600
First of all, bris milah is continuous. It's not a one-time deal.
One continuous mitzvah, okay.
No. The Gemara tells a story in Sanhedrin that David HaMelech went into the bathhouse and he was undressed and he was very upset. He realized, I don't have any mitzvahs on me. No tzitzis, no tefillin, no nothing. Then the Gemara says he realized that he has a bris milah. So that's why David HaMelech says, Sas anechi al imrasecha k'meitzi shalol rav. The pasuk can tell him, right? Sas anechi al imrasecha k'meitzi shalol rav, like I found a great treasure. The Gemara says that David HaMelech referred to the bris milah. He realized I have a bris. So the question is, well, he didn't have the bris now. He also put on tefillin that day. So, like, what's the difference between bris milah and Torah or tefillin? He put on tefillin that day anyway. So, just like he had bris milah, he has tefillin. So the Rogat Shavar proves from here that milah is a pull in imsheches. It's continuous. It's not a one-time deal. Huh? No. No, not. I'm saying when you do the bris milah once, it's as if you constantly are doing a bris. 24/7 you're doing a bris. The same thing the Rogat Shavar says by Kedushin. There's a lot of sichas in the Rebbe about this. And Kedushin, he holds, it's not you do Kedushin with your wife. It's not a one-time deal. It's a continuous thing.
It's continuous.
So he told it to Reb Chaim Brisker. So Reb Chaim Brisker said to Mazel Tov. What's the Mazel Tov? And so you just got married. If the Kedushin is continuous, you just got married. Anyway, okay, let's go. Gepirish Gedei Lamila. What does Gedei Lamila mean? That's the level of Milah Gedelo Shalamayla Mamata. Shemamayla Lamata. That's the higher level of bris. What does that mean? Sheyim al Hashem Eslevav. It's going to be the circumcision that Hashem does. Okay? That's the level of the Yud Gimel. There's going to say like this. Kiyudua she'inyan akrisis bris. What's the how concept of making a bris, a covenant with somebody? He says, L'mayla min ha'seichel v'adas. The concept of a bris, a covenant between two bris, Avraham made with Avimelech, whatever. You have a bris is a level which is higher than seichel. Aderach beizoyavim shakais increases bris, like two friends, or marriage, so to speak, which is a bris between a husband and wife. Lias oivim zeh im zeh. That they will be friends. What does the covenant mean? We will be friends. That he's forced, the bris forces him to be friends. That even seichel dictates no. What's the purpose of marriage? Or like we have the classic examples, David and Yonah made a bris with an Avtera Mocha Chaydesh. Right? He made a covenant with him. What's the concept of a covenant? If logic dictates to be friends, what do you need a bris for? You're friends. What's the union of a bris, a covenant? The covenant is that even when Seichel dictates, you shouldn't be friends. Seichel comes along and says you shouldn't be friends. The bris, the covenant, makes you stay friends anyway. Because it's something which is above Seichel. Seichel says, yeah, we shouldn't be friends now. We got into a fight, we shouldn't be friends. But that's in Seichel. In higher than Seichel, then the bris is bris. You're friends anyway. That's the whole concept of marriage, so to speak. Even when you get into a fight, whatever, you're still married, so you work it out. You can't do anything about it, so to speak.
Read that Ben has a fire. He says, I'm going to kill you, or you're going to go to God. What kind of breed is this?
He didn't say that. He said he'd not kill you. He said either Gehenna or Golos.
Well, yeah.
Not kill you, Gehenna or Golos. No, it's not the same.
That's what I meant.
Okay, no.
What kind of breed is this?
On the contrary, the bris is that even though you deserve to die, I'm not going to kill you, but you got to get cleansed. You have to get cleansed. Like we say in the Yom Yom Rishon Shabbos, Mi Yala Bahar Hashem, Neki Kapayim of Alevov. Who's going to go up to the mountain of Hashem, meaning Gan Eden? You need to be Neki Kapayim, clean hands, a Bar Levov, a pure heart. So Hashem said, on the contrary, because the Jews are going to sin, I will not destroy them. They will go get cleansed, and then we're back together again. You have to take a shower. A hot shower in Gehenna, or a suffering shower of Golos. That's all.
Two people go out in the sukkah, and the groom says to the Kala, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to kill the kids. That's a breed?
Those people shouldn't get married. What do you mean he says it? That's not what Hashem says. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. The Chosin in Kala goes under the chuppah. I mean, they don't say this, but conceptually, yeah? To death we part. Okay, what does that mean? What do you mean to death we part? Years ago, not nowadays, God forbid, I mean, years ago, people got married, they knew they're going to be buried together. There's no divorcing, I mean, even though Torah allows it. Torah allows it, okay? But that wasn't the attitude. Today there's an attitude, I heard this from a lot of frum people. I'll try it out. Marriage, I'll try it out to see how it goes. Those people, it's forbidden to get married. Okay? You're going in with the intent of not making it. That's exactly what he's saying here. The concept of a bris is that even when logic dictates it shouldn't be, it's still going to be. That's we part. And that's what Hashem made, a bris made of Sodom. Correct, that's a bris. It's like a kid say, I don't want to be your son anymore. I'm divorcing you. No. It was tried in court already in America a few times. Kid wanted to divorce the parents. They sued the parents for having them, whatever. Well, you know, in America it's crazy. Okay, so he says, okay, last line of this first column in the Maimer. Even though logic would not dictate to be friends, he forces himself and the same thing by bris milah, which is an abundance of good. Why does bris milah have yud gimel brises? Because the Alter Rebbe says now that's how they yud gimel midas rachamim. the 13 attributes of mercy, which is l'mayla me'achachma v'aseichel. And therefore, it's l'mayla b'chinas havaya, that level Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim. Okay, the level of Bris Milah, which is a connection which is above Seichel, above Torah, like he said before. U'l'mayla b'chinas Torah, like it says, Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim is the level of Mayla Me'atera, and therefore you get Slichas Sa'avan. Like the famous, it's Yerushalmi really, but the Medrash brings it down differently with different version. They asked, what do you do to a guy that sins? You know, kill him. Then another guy says, bring a carbon. Yeah? Torah says, let him bring a carbon. V'yischapelei. Then Shalal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yaseh Tshuva v'yischapelei. That means Torah says, no good. Hashem says, what do you mean? You can do tshuva. So tshuva is even higher than Torah. Bris Milah, and with tshuva he says, that's the level of tshuva momayla lamata, which is higher than Torah. Umol Hashem elokechos levavcha. That's the level of Milah, which is the Rosh Tevis, and Avaya, Torah Savaya, which is the Safed Tevis. So Bris Milah is even higher than Torah, higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. That way, the ultimate level of tshuva comes from Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim, which is higher than the level of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Because when a person sins, we learned in the Gaisa Tshuva, you blemish the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yeah? That's why Toshav Hey, you got to bring the Hey back, because you knocked it out through sinning. So that level of tshuva is the level what we learned Lifnei Avaya. Yechaper Stam without the name, not Yechaper Hashem. Lifnei Avaya to total, higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. Tshuva awakens the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim, which is higher than Torah, higher than the level of Torah mitzvahs, right? And that is the level of Bris Milah, the Yud Gimel Bris, which is Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim. Excuse me, it's a connection with Hashem, which is L'mayla Min HaSeichel. So therefore, it doesn't matter if you sin, because the bond is there anyway. You want an open relationship, so you do tshuva. You change your ways. So that's why Bris Milah is Lecha Shabbos. If you think about it, based on this Maimer, Bris Milah is higher than Shabbos, it's higher than Torah, it's higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim, that because it's higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei, you blemished in sin, you blemished Yud Kei Vav Kei, so now Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim is a higher level that you're mamshech, and then from there comes Salachti Kizarecha, and Yom Kippur. That's why at Ne'ilah you have the tefillah of Yud Hashem Hashem a bunch of times over there in a row. Because that, especially at the time of Ne'ilah, which is the fifth tefillah, which is Yechidah, which is Lifnei Havaya, higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the 4 levels. So that's the level of Bris Milah.
Yud Kei Vav Kei is the highest level of
Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim is higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei is a name.
And Bris Milah is in that level?
Higher.
Higher.
He said, Mi Yalon Lon Hashmayim Rosh Tevis Milah, and the last letters are Yud Kei Vav Kei, which means Milah is even higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. And he explaining, because Yud Milah is the level, Mi Yalon Lon Hashmayim, and the Yin Gilu Momaylo, Mol Hashem Al Kechos Levavcha, as the Gilu of Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim, which is higher than Torah, higher than, all that stuff. Therefore, you can get forgiven for Torah that you neglected. And that level is the level of Bris Milah.
Well, who gets that? Who gets it? The baby gets it?
The baby gets it.
Or
The father, obligations on the father. Then if the kid becomes bar mitzvah and it wasn't done, the kid has an obligation to do it. The father, initially the obligation's on the father. Well, you expect an 8-day-old baby to do it. So the father has the obligation. Then, not the mother, by the way. The mother has absolutely no chiyuv to do a bris on a kid. But then the kid becomes bar mitzvah, he has to do a bris. What?
so Milah is the level of Milah?
Similar to that, yeah. Yeah. It's higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's higher than the, yeah. Tshuva comes from the Yechida.
What does it mean that Torah is higher than Torah? Anything that comes from Torah, anything that you
No, Torah is Leba Shemayim Hi. He's not speaking about the essence of Torah, by the way. He's speaking about the level of Torah that the Gemara says Leba Shemayim Hi, which is the level of Torah that comes into understanding.
the Chacham of Torah as it is
Right.
here.
That Torah Yoda from a higher level to a lower level. Uniqueness of Torah versus Neshama, that Neshama, when it comes down, becomes affected by the body. It could sin and become Tameh, the Nefesh. By Torah, Torah is not Mekabel Tumah, because Torah comes down here and the way it was up there.
So what does it mean that Mila is higher than Torah?
It's a greater revelation of Alukus than Torah is.
Because Mila is higher than
It's a greater, the Gemara says, Yud Gimel Brisis, by Bris Milah, and then by Torah it's only 6, whatever it is.
practically speaking, I guess it's more important for a person.
Why do you desecrate Shabbos to do a Bris Milah if it's on time? Why? You can do it a day later.
It's more important.
Because it's more important than Shabbos. No, Shabbos is a Gilui, Shabbos Lashem. Right? The Pasuk says Shabbos Lashem. Bris Milah is even a greater Gilui of Elokus.
Shua.
Can they roll the Torah now?
Yeah.